The president is in full-on savage mode. The closer we get to that fateful day of November 3rd, the more the president kicks it into max gear and revs that bad boy all the way up. That bad boy being the Trump campaign. This president does not stop. It's unbelievable. You know, one of the biggest contrasts between Joe and the current president, outside of the whole career politician as respect to an outsider, is just the level of energy. We've spoken about it a million times before, but Joe Biden doesn't even have the energy to campaign. How is he going to run the damn country? Quick answer, he's not. Everyone around Joe Biden is going to run it for him, just like we've seen with his campaign. Kamala, Obama, Jill Biden, everybody but Joe does all the work, and Joe's just the puppet, the Trojan horse, like we covered in the last video. But man, oh man, oh man, the president is on a warpath to frankly save the country from Joe. And what do I mean by that? He has been on a full-out assault on Joe Biden, and of course, the Democrat establishment, the crony elites that motivated him to run for office in the first place. So I gotta show you guys, we got a lot to cover, some highlights, some epic moments, some funny quotes, and then we'll talk not only about the legacy media or the legacy establishment politicians, but the fact that it's the same thing when it comes to polling. But before we get into any of it, the liberal hive mind has been shadow banned by the Google algorithm. This means if you're not subscribed to the channel, there's a very high likelihood that you will not see our videos going forward. Our recommendations to non-subscribers have fallen nearly 90%, and YouTube has cut off our ability to grow the channel. So the only way that you can help me change that is by sharing the video as much as possible and of course subscribing and hitting the notification bell. I hate to have to beg in every single video, but if I don't, it's a death sentence for this channel. So I'd really appreciate if you guys did that, and with that out of the way, let's roll the tape. Alright, so remember I told you guys the president is kicking it up a notch, using some more no better way to describe it, savage tactics. You might have noticed a constant theme at Trump rallies lately have been the Jumbotron. This is the president's new weapon in his arsenal, his new blade in his armory, and man does that Jumbotron pack a serious punch. Check out this scene from his last rally.
I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax cuts.
Guess what? If you elect me, you're not going to have your taxes are going to be raised, not cut.
I would repeal the $2 trillion tax cut. First thing I would do as president was eliminate the president's tax cut.
Let's reverse the Trump tax cut.
Vice President has laid out a plan to increase taxes.
And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kid used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again.
I told you guys, does that Jumbotron pack a punch or what? And you know, it's the perfect tool to go against Joe. One of Joe's biggest weakness is the fact that he says one thing in Wisconsin and one thing in California. We've covered it a million times before. And using the Jumbotron really sets the precedent, because he can use Joe's words, video of Joe against himself. It's Joe versus Joe. The man contradicts himself and debunks himself every second week, so might as well just use it to your advantage. And the president's been going after everything. You know, the one thing that I have to admit about Trump rallies, and one of the things that drew me into the president in the first place, is just his charisma. He's funny. He's basically a stand-up comedian, riffing in front of the crowd and making everybody just feel good, laugh, and have a good time. He breaks the edge. Trump rallies are fun, especially when he's in full campaign mode. Joe Biden just called a lid on his entire campaign, meaning he will no longer show up publicly until after the election. He's a total coward, but of course the president is going to meme on it, and that's exactly what he did. Check this out.
But for himself, did you know today, you know what happened, right? He put the lid on. You know what the lid is? He's constantly putting the lid on. Constantly putting the lid on. The lid means, I guess it's referring to a garbage can, right? You put the lid. And he's putting the lid on. This guy has more lids. I don't know. There's something going on.
I told you guys, it's pretty good. A garbage lid for a garbage campaign. It's pretty much as simple as that. The imagery is succinct, delivers the message, and man, what a punch it is. And the president's been launching punch after punch after punch all week long. So of course, we know Barack Obama's been campaigning for Joe Biden. The man can't do it himself. He's too busy calling a lid on it. But man, Obama has really lost his mojo now, hasn't he? And the president, of course, pointed that out. Check out this interview.
Look, Obama shows up for a speech and nobody shows. What did he have yesterday? 32 people showed up? We've got 35, 40,000 people half the time.
What's he got, like 32 people? He's not wrong. In fact, Obama did a live event the other day, and on one of the streams there was 70 people watching. That, my friends, does not win elections. And because something has changed, there has been a dramatic change in the way people look at politicians. They had 8 years of Obama, 8 years of nothing, and regular Americans are rejecting the swampy establishment that has taken advantage of them for too long. You know, President Trump said it best himself during the debate.
Why didn't you do that 4 years ago, even less than that? Why didn't you
I
do it?
am
You were
not-
vice president. You keep talking about all these things you're going to do, and you're going to do this. But you were there just a short time ago, and you guys did nothing.
We did.
You know, Joe, I ran because of you. I ran because of Barack Obama, because you did a poor job. If I thought you did a good job, I would have never run. I would have never run. I ran because of you. I'm looking at you now. You're a politician. I ran because of you.
All right, Vice.
And he's totally right. He's right on the money. And actually, speaking of being right on the money, the president said Hillary Clinton had more energy and was smarter than Joe Biden. Yup. You're right on that one too, Mr. President. And speaking of being right, the pollsters are just getting it wrong. They're not understanding this dynamic. You know, McSally in Arizona, I've stated many times, is starting to overtake Mark Kelly in the polls. In fact, Buzz Aldrin just picked Arizona Republican McSally over fellow astronaut Mark Kelly. If that doesn't speak 1,000 words, then I don't know what does. And so Frank Luntz said it best. The other day he said this.
So Brett, my conclusion from this is that Trump will gain 1% or 2%. So the polls will narrow slightly over the next 2 or 3 days because of that debate. But I'm still wondering if they're going to narrow enough. And look, if the numbers turn out to be wrong, if Donald Trump is right and these pollsters are wrong about this race, then people like me are going to have to find a new profession.
So if pollsters are wrong and Trump wins, people like me will have to find a new profession. Yes, you will. And people like Joe will have to join a retirement home because the American people are sick of it, sick of the establishment, and by connection, these phony polls that set a completely skewed narrative. All the mainstream pollsters, mainstream outlets, Nate Silver in particular, pushing that there's a likelihood that Texas goes blue. It's a toss-up state on RCP. A toss-up state? He just tweeted this, whelp, showing a statistical tie in Texas. And we look at early voting in Texas, the data that we have from TargetSmart, womp womp womp. Anybody who thinks Texas is a toss-up state is lying to you. People are sick and tired of the establishment, from politicians, from unions, municipal government, school boards, local politicians, Washington politicians, lobbyist groups, the media, and these phony pollsters who set these skewed narratives in a way to affect elections. That's exactly what it is. That's what it was in 2016. It's all about setting a narrative. It's about demoralizing you, thinking that your candidate doesn't stand a chance. And honestly, 2020 is referendum time. You know, Nancy Pelosi just announced this, that she plans on running for the Speaker of the House again if Democrats win. And that should be a call to action to flip that House ruby red as it could possibly be. 2020 is going to be all about sending a clear message that people have had enough of the phony narratives, the lies, the propaganda, the censorship, the all talk, no action benefiting them and the interest groups around them instead of working for the American people. And Nancy Pelosi, probably even more so than Joe Biden, is the direct representation of that, still holding back your stimulus checks. And I can just feel it in the air. I can feel it in the air tonight, oh Lord, that there is a red tsunami right around the corner. And I think those waves are going to crash in so strong, it might crash the House and take Nancy Pelosi with it. But we'll have to see. One thing I know for damn sure is that Texas is not going blue. Even if the cast from Seinfeld is trying to make that happen. No one takes their political advice from George Costanza. Let's just leave it at that. But if you guys enjoyed the video and you want to see more like them,